Good morning, everyone. I am Ganesh, and today we are going to talk about open source. I'm very thrilled about today's topic. This is very close to my heart. And I'd like to thank you, everyone who joined on Saturday morning. Uh, I'll give you some background about RC Talks. So at Rapid Circle, we have very enthusiastic people, and the other day we were having this conversation, and that led to having this kind of format about RC Talks, where people will talk about their experiences in different technologies they're working on. In RC Talks today, we are going to talk about open source and how you can start your open source journey. And we on this panel we have awesome people who are open source contributors: Vipul, Chandni, Jiten. But before going into details, we can utilize 3 or 4 minutes just to take some questions, or if anyone in the audience have any questions, we can just discuss right now about RC Talks or Rapid Circle in general while we wait for other people to join. Aishwarya can unmute everyone in this meeting, and you can just unmute yourself and ask your questions. We'll wait for a minute or two, and then we'll kick off. Any questions about RC Talks or Rapid Circle? If not, then we can just start. So l- let's go through first introducing our speakers. So Vipul, you can start off.
Okay, great. So, hi everyone. Good morning. Thanks for joining us here at Rapid Circle Talks. My name is Vipul. I work as a cloud consultant here in Rapid Circle, mainly focusing on Microsoft Cloud. And I'm really looking forward to have this discussion today. Yep.
Vipul, you can pass it on to Chandni or Jiten. So Chandni,
Okay, let's go with
please
Chandni.
go
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, thanks, Vipul. So, first of all, hello everyone. Good morning. I am Channi Prajapati. I am working with Rapid Circle since last 6 months, and I am mostly focusing in SPFX, PNP, PowerShell, and so on. And apart from this, I am a blogger and open source contributor, and I'm doing open source contribution in various libraries like PNP, SPFX, web parts, PNP, script samples, and PNP SPFX domain generator. And yeah, recently I become a Microsoft MVP as well for the office development. And nowadays I am a PNP community member as well. So that's all about me. I will pass over to Jitin.
Thank you, Chandni. Hello, everyone. I am Jiten Parmar, a Microsoft certified developer with 9+ years of experience for designing and developing Microsoft 365 related applications. I have been working with Rapid Circle from last 4 months, and it's an honor for me to work with such a great people of RC. Currently, I am working with Power Platform team. I would love to contribute to our society, so that's why I've started my contribution journey from like couple of months back, and I've raised around 5 to 6 PRs. So that's me. Get back to Ganesh.
Awesome. Since we have introduced everyone, I'll introduce myself. I'm Ganesh, and I am a full stack developer working at Rapid Circle. So today's topic is open source again, and when I heard about open source, I was very confused and thought of I have to write code to uh, in order to contribute, right? But before that, let's set some context and define what is open source in the first place, right? So, Chandni, can you give us idea about what is open source?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Ganesh. So first of all, what is open source? Open source means anything which is publicly accessible. And open source is like a software or any project or any library which we are using a free of cost or like for that we not need any licensing, right? So this is a open source, and open source is maintained by the community. So where community members are working together to make it a reliable and better. And open source like for example some popular libraries like Angular, React, which we are using in our daily basis, but we are not required any like license or anything else, right? We are using it free of a cost. So this is a open source. And now let's see like what is the open source contribution. So there are some various types of open source contribution, like fix some typo in the documentation, fix any bug, then create any feature request, and so on. So there are some various types of open source contribution. And if we are doing open source contribution, then we can get like deep knowledge of the real life projects, and like we can get more confidence, like our code is publicly available across the world and everyone using it, right? And if we talk about like some popular libraries related to SharePoint, so there are so many libraries like PNP SPFX web parts, PNP JS, then PNP script samples, and so on. So I think that's it about open source. Over to you, Ganesh.
Yeah, awesome. That was very, I mean, you defined open source very in a way, a good way. So now, uh, since we know what open source is and why I mean, which projects Shanni mentioned about SharePoint and other stuff being Microsoft tech stack. She mentioned about SharePoint. There are in other projects as well. But now follow-up question would be why contribute to open source, right? There should be, or there might be some incentives or any other things like. So Vipul, can you tell us about why we should contribute to open source projects?
Yeah, I think as Chandni mentioned that these are the projects that are open to be contributed by anyone. One of the biggest things I've learned out of contributing to open source is that it gives you a hands-on technical learning. So, for instance, if you want to learn a new language or if you are into getting into learning a new technology, many a times it so happens that we know what we have to learn, but we don't know what to implement as a concrete outcome of that. So what open source gives you is a problem statement where you say that I'm going to solve this problem and have a solution on it, right? And then you work on it and get your code into an open source library, or it could be a code, it could be documentation, it could be anything else. So I think one of the key importance of contributing to open source is the hands-on learning.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing I think is very important is during our day-to-day projects, we end up using a lot of open source tools. And that gives us an opportunity to improve something you're already using, or implement your own ideas into that tool. So if you are using a tool for a year and a half, 2 years, you get your own ideas as to this is how it should work, or this is what could be useful, and that gives you a channel to sort of contribute to open source and improve what's being built into the community. uh, and the third and most important I think is you get your, if you're contributing for example code, you get the code reviewed from the maintainers of the library, and you get active feedback which helps you improve your technical implementation skills, or even for that matter discussion skills. So when you are implementing an issue or a bug or an enhancement that has been requested on open source, there is a focused discussion happening, and you are exchanging thoughts with fellow contributors, and that gives you a direction to research into what you are implementing and then come back with the feedback. I think that these are some of the things which are important that I feel uh, you could improve while contributing to open source. Yep.
Great. So you mentioned about like you have been using some open source tools to deliver or in your daily work, right? And then you get some ideas about how you can improve those tools, right?
Yeah.
And then you get that thought process, then you go to GitHub or on platform where that source code is hosted, right? I like that idea. I mean, I have been using VS Code for so many years now, and I wanted to contribute, but I wasn't sure whether I am the right perfect, or I mean, I am the right person to contribute or not, or those kind of questions I get a lot. So, Jiten, would you like to tell us about who can contribute to open source? Can I contribute to VS Code repository?
Yes, you are able to contribute because I can simply say that anyone can contribute to open source.
Mhm.
It's not just for the developer. It doesn't matter if you are IT professional, if you are a designer or a manager or student or seventh standard kid, you can contribute to open source project. When we say contributing to open source project, it doesn't mean that you need to know how to code. This is the only place where we don't require any degree or certification. If I can give some if I can give some more example about the open source contribution, there can be like adding description to project documentation. We generally referred as a readme file, and then giving guidance to any project and how to use that project, adding sample output, writing in-depth tutorial, then adding translation of a project, answering quick questions about the project like we generally do in Stack Overflow and C Sharp Corner. Like you can offer a mentorship to any fellow contributors as well. As Chandni said that we can fix typos, we can arrange project work folders, we can upgrade the version. So these are the some like common contribution that we can do, and we don't require any kind of coding knowledge in this. So that's it.
Awesome, awesome. So I am very happy that I can contribute to VS Code, VS Code repository. So yeah, after this session, I'm going to go to that repo and find something for me. Awesome. And you also mentioned that you don't have to have degree or you if you are in seventh standard, you can just go on and contribute, right? Uh, I'd like to mention that I don't have a degree and I'm still working at Rapid Circle. So this that just give you some background about Rapid Circle. But today's topic is open source, not about Rapid Circle. So let's move on. So I'll ask this question to Vipul. How do you find the right project? So I have mentioned VS Code for myself, but people who are new to open source journey and they want to contribute, how they can find a project. Right project is you can define what right project is, but yeah, how do you find the right project?
I think, as you said, you have been using VS Code for a while, and then suddenly it strikes you that I've been using this open source tool for so long. Uh, you get an idea as to, oh, it would be great if VS Code had this extension, right? Or it would be great if I just could click a button and the code just showed up instead of me typing 100 lines of code. So it sometimes, most of the time, comes to you that I want this feature to be seen into a tool that I'm using, and that's why you get into finding the right implementation for open source. Uh, I think another factor is finding an open source project that is aligned with what you do as your daily work. So, if, for example, if you're a developer and you work on a particular language or a particular technology, uh, as a starter, I have found it beneficial to find an open source library to contribute to which is aligned with my work, so that the learning curves gets a little reduced, and then it helps you get started fast. So that first contribution happens more quickly as to learning something completely new, and then trying to understand the whole open source project and then start contributing. So I think it depends on the person and their interest, but what I've found useful for me is finding a library that is aligned with what I do every day, and then trying to make it better or contribute it so that everyone around can use the features that I've put in, and also I could use the features that the community is building.
Great, great. So, select library or project that is more aligned with your daily work. That's what you're saying, right?
Absolutely.
And you also mentioned it depends person to person. It changes, right? So,
Yep.
I'd like to ask same question to Chandni. From your perspective, what is the or how what's the right project? I mean, how do you
Yeah.
find the right project?
Yeah, sure. So actually, there is a not a specific or particular way to find a right project. There are multiple ways, and it depends on the any person, right? So first thing is want to discuss is like every day we are using multiple libraries in our daily basis projects, right? And sometimes what's happening like we are facing some issues. So mostly what we are doing, we are on hold and we try to find another approach, right? But I would suggest like you can start your first contribution from there. If you are finding any bug or if you have any idea like this library should provide this type of feature, then you can start from that, right? Then another way is like if you are not finding any specific way like how can I start to find a particular project or anything else. So first of all I would like to suggest like if you are using, for example, I'm using pnpjs library every day, so I can go to that github issues and I can find the issue list or feature list, and I can go through all the issues. And if I'm feeling like confident and I'm feeling comfortable, then I can start my first contribution from there as well, right? But as a I would like to suggest first of all thing like do not target the major feature, but you can start with like fixing a typo, then fixing a bug, and then you can start with the like major feature. And yeah, that's all about it.
Great. Jiten, any thoughts on this?
So as Vipul and Chandni has already covered so many things, but I would like to add a small thing over here. Like GitHub is like a home for open source contributor. That's the first and foremost thing. So in a GitHub, you will find like so many repos and libraries and everything. But if you are like want to start with a small baby step, then you can just start with like writing answers aligned with your technology in a Stack Overflow and C Sharp code. So I think that's it from my side.
I
Awesome.
I'd like
Yeah,
to
yeah, go
add
on.
another point here is that when you find something that is aligned to what you do every day, uh, the open source community is a big bunch of people working on a particular project or a library, right? So what happens is you get to directly interact with or work with people who have a deeper understanding of the technology that you work with. So you directly get to communicate with them over GitHub issues or over a new feature that is being built, and that also improves the daily work that you're doing and gives you more understanding of the current technology that you're working on. So I think that's also an added advantage if you find something which is related or which you can relate to your daily work.
Yeah, I would like to add one more point. Like if you have like any great idea and if you are like finding anything and you are like not able to find particular project, then you can create your own project or library. So it's not about only be a contributor, but you can be a author as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
You
definitely.
you can add new issues as well if you are finding any GitHub library or which has some any issues or which has some warnings. So in that case, you can add that issue as well in that GitHub repository. So if you are not able to like answer or if you are not able to code for that, but the one who has done, they have idea that here we have some issues and that we need to solve. So that's also an added advantage over there.
Yep.
Awesome. So, creating new issue is also, I mean, that can be
A
seen as a
contribution.
contribution. Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. So, I remember one story when I was an intern at Rapid Circle. I was working on this internal tool, and I struggled. I was using AngularJS, and I struggled with that date picker, and I was too afraid at that point to contribute that repository because it was very famous repo. It is still, and they have been building on it. But what I did out of fear, what I did, I implemented prototype method in JavaScript locally in my local project instead of doing or making that contribution. So, great ideas. If I face similar sort of issues and in audience as well, if you folks face any issues or find ideas, please now you know. Uh, Ideas or two just to go there and create issue or just make a request or just contribute. Great. So that leads to another question. So Chandni,
Yeah.
what happens after you submit a contribution?
Yeah. So as I already mentioned, there are different ways of the types of the contribution. Like you can fix any typo, you can update any documentation, you can add like fix any bug, and you can add any feature as well, right? But there is not a specific way for the all the projects or library. But mostly they are following some pattern. Like first, for example, if I am creating any PR for the like fixing a bug or creating a new feature, so first of all, I have to write a code or update. I have to update a code, right? Then I have to create a PR. Then that PR will be reviewed by the maintainer. And if everything is okay, then maintainer will merge and approve it. But if there are some suggestion from the maintainer, they will guide you and they will help you to you have to update these or anything else. So they will provide some suggestion as well. So I think this is like all about starting from PR to approve the PR. Yeah, so that's it.
Great, great. So you are saying that this is what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
You're saying that once you make the changes about that contribution, whether it is code or documentation or just creating a new bug or suggesting an idea, right?
yeah,
For idea and all, you don't have to create PR, but if it is some change in the source code, then you have to make a PR, right? Uh, and you're saying that open source community is welcoming and
yep,
they help you along with that PR, they review it and then they eventually merge it, right?
yeah.
Great. Um, so I'm not going to hold myself back. People in the audiences, please don't hold yourself back. Go on and just create a PR.
Because community is always welcoming a new contributors. So yeah,
Yes,
you can
yes,
start something.
def- definitely. Great. So that's about it. Now, moving on to this is again, I'd like to ask these kind of questions. So, Vipul, um, tell us about your first contribution. What was it? Which project you contributed to, and how you landed on that project?
Oh, okay. So my first contribution was around the Microsoft 365 PNP projects, and as we already touched on, being able to contribute to something that you use on a daily basis. So this was something that I used to work with every day, and I found out that a particular documentation of a command was incorrect, right? So
Mhm.
I think we already, Jitin and Chandni already touched upon the point that a contribution doesn't have to be source code. It can also be documentation, right? And I remember that it was a correction of only two sentences, but that was the perfect contribution to get me started into open source. Why? Because I didn't have to write a lot of code. It was only a documentation change, but it gave me an understanding of how the other things around a contribution work. For example, how do you fork a repository in GitHub? what is a fork really, because when we work on actual projects in our daily work, it's not a lot of times we get to fork a repository. We directly make branches, update our code, merge it. So it helped me understand what is this forking a repository in GitHub, how it is useful. Uh, how do you create a pull request? Because I had not created a pull request before my first open source contribution. And how does it help to maintain a repository, uh, keep it clean while hundreds of people are implementing changes in it? So how does a maintainer actually manage the code? Because put yourself in the shoes of a repository maintainer where thousands and thousands of people are using that repository. How do I maintain it? So a PR is a very good way to contribute. A pull request is a very good way to contribute. So that was a good learning, that a contribution doesn't have to be big, because even I had this feeling when I wanted to get into open source that, oh, it's something big, it's something difficult, it's something only a few developers can do. But then after my first pull request was approved, I realized that okay, this is not too hard. Uh, I can I can do this, and if I can do this, anyone can do this. So I think if you start small, like I said, just a documentation update, it gives you a confidence and it gives you an understanding of how open source works. And then you can step more into it, build bigger features, build bigger enhancements, and then it becomes like your daily work. Once you get into it, once you submit 3 or 4 pull requests, it's not something new. It becomes a part of you. You get used to it.
I like that. That becomes part of you. Great. So, Jiten, same question to you. Tell
Okay,
us, yeah. Tell us about your first contribution.
actually, my motivation is something which I would like to share over here, because I was used to like listen contribution PNP sample daily calls, weekly calls that they started. So in that weekly call, I there was a youngest contributor, which is of 7th standard girl, which I already mentioned in my previous questionnaire. So that 7th standard girl has contributed with her mother, and she has developed an SPFX web part, and that strike my mind. So that's why after that I have started like, let me find something. And after that I heard that PNP PowerShell scripting is the smallest way to start with your code pull request. So I have started my first PNP PowerShell scripting. In that I have learned a lot about the script was small, but I have learned a lot about the process which is already uh, uh, give understandable by Vipul. So like forking the repository, how we merge our code, how we clone our repository, how we raise a PR, and like it's just a matter of like I have completed my first PR in first 2 hours. So I was like, wow, I can do anything with this. So that was my first contribution. Thank you.
Great. So, Chandni, again, same question
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah, sure. So, 2 years back, I was learning SPFX. At that time, I was not aware about the SPFX and some front-end frameworks like React and Angular and so on. So, at that time, I was learning SPFX with React and Angular. So, one day I want to try, like, let me try SPFX with Angular. But SPFX directly not supporting Angular. So I did some research over the internet and I found one library like PNP SPFX Human Generator, so which is providing direct way to use Angular. So I used that, like I explored that library and I tried to use that, but I found one issue because at that time latest Angular version was 8 and library is not providing latest support for the Angular. So I did so many research in internet, but I didn't found any proper solution. So I raised an issue for this particular library, and maintainer reply me like currently they are not supporting the latest Angular version support, right? So yeah, I took this as a first contribution as an opportunity, and I started a contribution from there. So yeah, after that I I continue my journey to creating a PR and features and some bug fixes and so on. And then I become a maintainer for this library as well. So this is all about my first contribution.
Great, great. So again, we are just going back to that term Vipul mentioned, right? How do you find the right project? If you're facing issues, then just go on and contribute. Great, great. So again, going back to Vipul, what are the challenges that you faced while contributing to open source so far, and how you tackled it?
Okay, so I think, as I said, the first contribution helped me understand the aspects apart from the actual contribution. So how does the process work? One of the things I wanted to know when I wanted to get started is for this particular library, uh, what is there a process of getting started contributing to this? So is it same across any library or project, open source project, or is there something specific that I should follow for contributing to, for example, the Microsoft 365 communities? So one of the challenges, or not challenges, but a thing that I wanted to get started with is reviewing the documentation of that library. So how do I, as a beginner, get started? The second challenge as such is I didn't know many of the features of Git. So how do I create a pull request? What happens if I make an incorrect commit? What happens if, for example, for a very small piece of functionality, I've made 15 commits? Would the maintainer accept it, right? So, or whether I should make my code or contribution a little cleaner. So in that case, how does squashing commits in Git work? So these are some of the challenges that I faced, and that actually leads you into reading features of Git, features of VS Code, features of the library that you are contributing to. So I think there are many challenges while you get started with open source, but actually those are good challenges. Those lead you into reading a lot of related things.
Great. So you're saying those challenges helped you learn new things along the way.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So yes, that's their incentive to contribute to open source projects. Jiten, what are the challenges that you faced when you started contributing to open source so far?
So initially, I was not aware of everything like the Git, the major home for open source contribute. I was not aware of that. So I have started with my small part of a thing, and I took a help for my one of the good friend of Dipen Shah. He has helped me a lot to understand the process, and after those process, I get to understand about the Git is something which is like backbone of everything, where if you want to like start with any kind of open source project, Git is the one which can help you a lot. So I would say that Git, understand the Git first, and based on your recommendation and based on your uh, views, you can like manage those updates, as Vipul has already mentioned that we can like understand the commands, like what are the commands can help us a lot. So no major challenges, but yeah, learned a lot.
Great. I want to be that person. No major challenges. Uh, so Chandni, Chandni,
Yeah.
same question to you.
Yeah, so like as Vipul and Jiten mentioned, actually I haven't faced major challenges, but all about GitHub, right? Actually, when I had started to do contribution, I can do code, but when I have to commit or push, I always have to take help from my husband. Because always like if I want to do something in Git, I am not able to do this. But after doing so many contribution, now a day I learn GitHub some popular commands. Not everyone, not each command, but yeah, almost some popular commands. And yeah, I learn mostly GitHub related commands.
Great, great. So, Jiten and Chani, you mentioned about taking help from someone, right? So I'll say this is what I'm getting out of it. Finding a mentor or someone who knows open source contributions, right? And you guys have been through that part of the journey. So, people in the audiences, if you are facing issues or if you are finding it difficult or if you are struggling, you know whom to reach. Vipul, Jiten, Chandni, and other people from Rapid Circle or in the open source community, just reach out to them. And they'll definitely help you. So again, I like to reiterate, uh, the open source community is very welcoming. So just go out there and learn new things. Great. Jiten, now we have talked about everything, right? What is open source, how to find right project, who can contribute, and those sort of things, right? What are the tools that you recommend for beginners so that they can start their open source journey smoothly?
So, like, first of all, I would like to tell contributing works in every level. So you don't need to overthink on it. You just need to identify, do you have any other projects which you have already worked and which you can like make small change or make some improvement and you can push it to as a publicly available project. So we have some links which I think Ashwarya has already added on the chat window. Uh, in which we have like specified like generally being as a cloud Microsoft cloud consultant, I prefer PNP GitHub community, which is like wide which has like wide variety of options available. Like it has so many predefined sessions available. So if you are not willing to contribute anything right now, you just want to listen any sessions, that you can follow the PNP GitHub sessions as well. So they have like some good amount of sessions as well, where like adaptive cards is there, like based on your interest, like what you want to do you want to learn Power Platform? Yeah, go and check for those sessions of Power Platform. If you want to learn about the adaptive card, go for those kind of sessions. If you want to like have a Viva connections and Sharepoint framework, go for that sessions. And other than that, you will find some good stuffs as well. So Microsoft PNP community is providing some started some guidance options as well. There is a term called sharing and caring. So in the sharing and caring sessions, they have like so many things to do. Like if you are a beginner and if you want to start with some documentation, they will like they will schedule they will have some monthly calls where you can understand how you can contribute with the documentation. If you are a first time contributor, what are the things that you need to take care, how the code structure would be, how the code quality would be. So those are some stuff that they are guiding us. They have like so many predefined samples available, like SPFX samples are there, then PNP uh, uh, PNP workstation sessions are there. Then if you are a first time presenter, if you need any help in the preparing of slides as well, they will help us in that sessions as well. So and they have recently started a good a term with buddy systems as well, where they will be part of your part on your first contribution as a co-presenter as well. So if you would like to present anything and if you are not sure about it, that how will I manage it, you can just raise a buddy request. They will help you with you they will help with you like preparing your presentation, as well as they will help you with the uh, how to present with other community members as well. Other than that, I would like to tell about the readme file is something that you need to read before starting any of your project. So there is a like if you open any project, in that there is always a readme file available. So that readme file has like each and every description about that project, like how you can manage that project, how you can fork that project, what are the features available, what are the references available, who has developed that project, who has developed that, and if you need any help on that project, you can reach out to that person. So these are the some of the links which we have already posted in the chat. You can refer to those link, and being as a Microsoft PNP community member, I would like, if you are a cloud consultant, go with that. They have like so many things to start with. I think that's it from my side. Vipul, Channi, if you want to add anything.
Uh, yeah, I think another thing we could look at is the any open source or most of the open source projects, if they're hosted on GitHub, the issues list is a good starting point to find out whether there's a enhancement or a bug that you can contribute to, right? And many projects make use of the tags in the issues list where you can find out issues which are marked as, let's say, good first issue or an enhancement or documentation. So that helps you easily filter out the areas of your interest and identify the issues that you could be a part of, yeah, easily a part of.
Great, great. So, Chandni, do you have anything in mind regarding tools or just uh, things
Yeah,
that can help beginners?
yeah. Suppose like if you have any idea and if you are not aware about like how I can start, then you can connect with community members. They will happy to help you, and you can start they will guide you. They will provide some suggestions, and you can start from there as well. So yeah, because they
Awesome.
are because they are not a superheroes, right? They understand our feelings, so they will happy to help you at any time.
And
Great.
Yeah.
if you look at the any issues and any um, things to do, like any feature request or something like that, they will provide like enough information over there in the issue list as well. So if you have any questions, you can just directly tag them and write it over there. They will answers your questions, like what is your requirement. They will, if you are like Microsoft 365 uh, 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 PowerShell scripting, or if you have any questions like what are the kind of thing that we need to do, is there any new technology that I should use, so those are the questions that you can ask directly to them in that issue list as well.
Awesome, awesome. So many things to go through and learn, but one point that is coming up over and over, which is open source community is warm and welcoming. So I'm very glad now on I'm going to start contributing to open source projects, and people in the audiences, please don't hesitate, just go out there and contribute. Awesome. So, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in our chat box. Uh, if not, then Aishwarya have already sent those links which can help you to start contribution. There are some good tools that everyone on this panel have compiled and put it out there. Great. So, that being said, I'll just summarize. So again, find a right project. I mean, when I say right project, it is nothing but find a project that is more aligned with your work and that will reduce your learning curve, and uh, that will give you extra benefits and that extra motivation just to go out there and contribute. Uh, Now, Aishwarya, over to you. You wanted to show us something. Please go on.
Yes, first of all, thank you guys for this very insightful conversation. I learned a lot. So that was really helpful, and I hope all of you in the audience as well, they've also found it to be helpful. Few announcements that we wanted to make from Rapid Circle's end is one was open positions. So we wanted to exploit this forum that we have to showcase the open positions that we have. So we have open positions for Azure Data Developer, Azure AD support, so, and I am architect. So basically, people who have a good flavor of Azure Active Directory, and then Office 365 admin, and also SharePoint developer with a few skills around front end web dev like React and Angular, and as well as Office 3 sorry D365 consultant, along with few Power Platform and Azure uh, knowledge as well. So if you know someone, or if you are someone who fits any of these roles, then feel free to drop your CV to careers@rapidcircle.com. I'll also drop the email ID in the chat. And on that note, so we have something new coming up with RC, that is RC Boot Camp. So this is something that Rapid Circle used to do way back. Something like an open office format. So we used to have a day where everyone could just come into the office and chat with us. We could have talks or discussions or even sessions, technical sessions. So we're trying to revive that, and so this will be hybrid as well. We're trying to keep it online as well for folks who are not in Pune. But if you are in Pune, then you should definitely drop by the Rapid Circle office in Banir Pashan Link Road. And it's on Saturday, 23rd April. The timing and all the agenda and all, it will be out there in the Rapid Circle India's LinkedIn page. So just make sure to follow it, and so that you can get the updates. And we're also planning to have some recruitment drives, kind of thing. So and have one part of the day where we have discussions, like interview discussions, things like that, and also few some one RC talk session as well, which will be hybrid, online and offline. So we'll have a panel just like this, but we'll be physically there with each other. And also we have a session, very exciting session by our director Suyog. So, and of course, we have pizza. We are planning for pizza. So, yeah. So just drop by the office if you're around, or just stay tuned online. And I think, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Thanks, Aishwarya. So again, apart from open positions and RC Bootcamp, if you have any questions regarding open source and contribution, or I'll say anything technically, reach out to these folks, and they'll more than happy to help you. So yeah, by saying that, I won't keep you uh, on Saturday. So yeah, that I think I'll like to conclude this uh, talk. Thank
Thank
you
you.
everyone for joining. Stay tuned for our next session. We are planning to have different kind of format, which is whiteboarding sessions. So make sure to follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever you get or like to connect. So great. Thank you everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thanks,
Thank
Ganesh,
Thanks,
for
you.
having
everyone.
us.
Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Thank you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.